All right, welcome all to an Axis Technologies in Healthcare podcast episode. I'm your host, Matt Kinn. Co-hosting today is Mr. Paul Baratta.
Morning,
and
Matt.
Morning. And we are joined by Martin Jensen, who is the Global Product Manager for the Fixed Dome line. Martin, why don't you do a little introduction to yourself, to the people listening?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Matt, thanks for having me on the podcast. My name is Martin Jensen. I'm a Global Product Manager here at Lund HQ in Sweden. I've been with Axis for 10 plus years and taking care of different kind of products here at Axis. So right now I'm taking care of our babies, the dome cameras.
Yeah, we love them too. And thank you for joining us here too. So what this podcast episode, I guess I'll say what the series is going to be about is having a little bit more context to the technologies that typically find a home within the healthcare industry. Technologies, the integrations, the solutions in general. And what I want to kind of do today with you being a product manager specifically is kind of go through the line because every single one of these things finds a home within the healthcare. I think the dome camera line itself is probably the most common, would you say, Paul?
Yep. Within healthcare, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at like a MOB, medical office building, whether it's a clinic, hospital, you name it, the dome cameras are always getting approved by the aesthetics teams. It's the most I would say easiest to approve, right? It's not like big scary objects or anything like that within the healthcare line. So and we'll get into it too, kind of why that, like those decisions lead to it. But I think it's the most commonly used in a security biased workflow within a hospital, most certainly. Yeah. So I think it kind of makes sense to kind of go through that as well. But I think, and it seems silly, I guess, a little bit in the aspect of like, what is a dome camera? Because I think almost every human being on the planet now has seen a dome camera at this point, right? And but I think that there's certain inherent traits that a dome camera has that people take for granted just because they're so used to seeing it, and they kind of all think they're the same, just one's bigger than the other one or one's smaller, but there's so much more to it than that. So I think Martin, if you can just define to you what is a dome camera as a baseline.
Sure. I mean, if we step back, I mean, I think CCTV has been around for 50 years or something. But I think when it started, I mean, you had a camera, and then you had to put some kind of protective lens in front of the camera, and that was typically like a flat surface, like a window, and that was the creation of the traditional CCTV camera, what we today call a box camera or a bullet camera. And that served the industry well for many years because the main use case for CCTV at the time was deterrence, and really to show that, hey, I have a camera, I'm looking at you basically. But then we saw the move to use CCTV and video surveillance in other industries where perhaps the deterrence was not the main use case. It was more like trying to get an overall surveillance. So then the industry started to see, okay, can we have a different shape? And basically a dome camera is any camera that have like a spherical, dome protection compared to a flat face. And today you see dome cameras in a variety. And here at Axis we have dome cameras like these are the traditional domes, but we also have dome cameras. I mean, cameras with a spherical casing over it, like in fisheyes. We have PTCs that are dome cameras. We have multi-sensor cameras. We even have small dome cameras. So, but I think the common thing that is great with the dome cameras is that since they sit in this, I would say 360 or this dome spherical type, they are very much protected. So whereas I mean here we can see a traditional bullet or a box camera, it can easily be reoriented and you can that type of camera. While in a dome camera, you are very much protected. So if you put up a dome camera, I mean, you are protected against vandalism or so. I think that's as well as you don't really see where the cameras are pointing.
I was wondering if you were going to say that. Yeah.
So that also, I mean, it really makes a more subtle type of installation. And you can even, I mean, some of our customers even opt our accessories with a smoked dome to make it even more blend into the environment and make it more, you know, invisible to.
Oh my goodness, those freaking smoke domes. Let me tell you, like this was a while ago when the low light was really a struggle.
Yeah.
And the first thing people would do is put a smoke dome on those things, and they drop the f-stop. And you're sitting there, I'm like, I can't see anything at night. I'm going, yeah, it doesn't work like that, you know. And so it was always such a kick too. And then I remember we used to ship with all the smoke domes, and about 90% of them would just get thrown away.
Yeah.
Or then they'd be like, "Oh, we threw it away. We want all smoke domes on a project," and you're like scrambling because like, I don't think you do, because these are all black inside anyways now.
Yeah. So, and I think we did a great job trying to really take use of the interior and maximize the optics inside. So nowadays, if you look at a camera, I mean, it's very much a dark kind of. So you don't maybe need the smoke domes as much anymore,
right?
But we still have them, and some customers love them. So yeah, we're happy to ship them to them as well.
Well, and so when it comes to like the internals, I guess I take for granted to what we have today, but we did not have before. Before, you could actually see some of the mechanics inside of them. I mean, remember the first dome camera I hung was a 216 FD.
Yeah. Wow.
And by the end of the project, it was an MFD.
Okay.
The first megapixel, right? 720p. We were putting them in the gymnasium. It was like the biggest thing, right? Now it's like 720p. You know,
yeah.
Get rid of that.
Some time ago.
Yeah, some time ago. But I will say, for me too, specifically within a hospital, I mean, they get chippy. A hospital can get. I mean, a vandal listing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is not something to sleep on. It is a very big deal, and I think you inherently have kind of like built these things to be very rugged in general.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the foundation of the dome camera. So once you have installed these cameras, they can sit there years and years, right? So I think that's a great feature of the dome camera.
Yeah,
I think another thing that's really important for people to know is a couple things. One, in healthcare, of course, you want to have an open and inviting environment with a level of security, and this provides that, where the box camera or the bullet camera says we're looking at you. The dome is a more pleasing kind of thing. It kind of flows into the ceiling. A lot of times people don't even see it. They don't even know it's there. And the other thing that's important to know about these is they're sensors. And today, through the development that you've done, these are actually smart devices that are there, that they help provide not only for security, but they also provide for business improvement. They also provide for proactive response to events, where in the past, when I was a security director back in the day, we would have to spend hours and hours going back trying to find an event. And today, using the tools that are available in the VMS systems, along with the intelligence that's the edge of these cameras, it's can be within minutes you can find that event. And the other thing that I wanted to ask you about is we have a bunch of cameras that are sitting here, and at Axis we have, I would say, 3 lines. But the one thing I always like to tell people is the quality doesn't change within the lines. We have very high quality cameras. It's more about the features, I think, that makes the difference. And sitting here is the M series, is a smaller camera. The P series, the P32, you'll see a ton of these in healthcare. And then the Q series is that rugged one that's built like a tank. And I know that you've been really involved in the development of these over the years.
Yeah.
I hope I explained it right about the different thing, that they're all high quality. It's just kind of tweaks a little bit about what's in between, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the dome portfolio we have a very clear, I would say, segmentation where we have the M line, the P line, and the Q line. And I often get the question, what's the difference between an M, P, and a Q line, and what camera should I choose, and so on. And I mean, to your point, Paul, I mean, I think first and foremost, I mean, we at Axis, we are a professional B2B company. So, I mean, whatever cameras we do installer and the end user in mind, and our partners. So even the smallest camera is a super professional camera. That's number one. And why is that? Well, first of all, I mean, there are a couple of features that are common to all the products. And first and foremost, we have a single operating system, the Axis OS, and we are very, very proud of the cybersecurity and the features that we bring in the Axis OS. And you can see the same operating system on all Axis devices. So even if you buy a small camera or a more expensive or a more feature-rich camera, it's the same foundation when it comes to the operating system. And why is that important? Well, first of all, I mean, for the integration and how you use the cameras, it's the same. If you log into any Axis device, you recognize yourself. You feel comfortable in your menus. And if you're a developer and some kind, we have the same APIs, what we call Axis VAPIX. We have, if you develop applications, we have the same ACAP framework, and basically you can use that on all our cameras, basically.
And what's really interesting about a lot of this with the dome cameras, when you talk about ACAPs, which is the analytics that are built into the cameras, and you could correct me, but I think there's more than 18 that are built right into the camera at the edge, right? There's tons.
We have, I think that's what is super exciting in our industry at the moment, where you talked about sensors, where the cameras are transitioning a bit from just being the eyes, but also just trying to be more of a brain, or trying to understand more about what's happening in the scene. And thanks to AI and our advanced capabilities, compute capabilities in our cameras, we have a lot of exciting things in our cameras and in our roadmap going forward.
And we build these. We build the chipsets. We design the chipsets. That's all done by Axis. We're not going to other people and putting other components in our cameras. These are our cameras. We're building them. It's our smarts, our parts.
I mean, we correct, Paul. I mean, we don't OEM any from any other Far East companies, and I mean, all these cameras for as long as I've been with the company, or I think forever, we have built our own cameras. We build our own products, and we're very proud, to the extent that we even build our own chipset.
Correct.
And I think. I think we can come back to that a little bit, but I mean, we are now on the 9th generation of our ArtPEC, which is our chip, and it's been a fundamental part of the Axis success, I think, because that have shaped the way we can drive this industry. Remember, I mean, we invented IP cameras back in the days, and I think that's really since we have been in control over the most important part of the camera, meaning the chipset, we were the first with a lot of the technologies that we today see as a standard in all cameras on the market, and we're continue to innovate because we drive the agenda from our chipset.
And a lot of people copy us because we do drive it, I think. You know, they and I can tell you that 20 years ago, when I was the director of public safety in a major hospital, I remember somebody from Axis coming to me and handing me a camera, and I remember looking at it, and you know, our cameras were all copper wires, and we were running all these, and I was like, "What does this do?" You know what? And I was told by people like Frederick Nielsen and others, this is the future. And back then we were using analog cameras and they were doing just fine. And today I can't see anybody really having an analog camera anymore. And in the fact that the chipsets that you put in these today are so intelligent, so able to help not only the security team respond to things better and do better, but also provide for better care of patients and provide for families that are coming into a hospital that maybe are under a lot of stress. They want to come and see their relative that could be brought in by helicopter from a car accident and in the emergency room. And, you know, it's it's not something that they feel like I'm walking into a prison,
Right.
but there is a level of security there that is protecting everybody. The patients, of course, that's the first thing you want to do, is make sure the patients and that they get the care they need, and then the staff, and then the visitors. And so I applaud you, because I think that as we have continued down this road with dome cameras, especially in the healthcare space, these small little M series cameras that are here, you see them everywhere, and it's because of their form factor and how well they perform. And then you see, especially in the Americas, a ton of the P32s, and again, it's because of their form factor and the way they perform.
Yeah. No, I think coming back to your history of analog cameras. Sometimes when I talk about the journey that we've done with Axis, I think and also as an industry, I think when I started 10 plus years ago, we were on a journey from analog to IP. That was the thing we used to say. I think now we are maybe on a journey from IP to IT. If
Correct.
that makes sense.
That
right?
makes a ton of sense.
So I think it's becoming more a conversation about edge computing and what these devices can do, because these are really powerful small Linux servers at the edge that creates a tremendous amount of value with low power, privacy and everything. So there's a lot to it.
That's why we don't call them cameras a lot of times anymore. We call them sensors.
Computer vision
that happen
devices.
to be able to
Yeah.
take a picture.
Yeah.
And I'm even going to go ahead and rival computer vision device, because we're here talking about domes, but we make far beyond cameras. We have acoustical monitoring sensors. Some of them are baked in now. We'll get there. But then we also have devices that are environmental sensors. So it's eyes, ears, and a nose now.
Yep.
So it goes beyond that. And so I would even say these are sensor data devices just in general, not even necessarily computer vision. I just want to bias one way or the other. I want to stay pretty neutral.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's gotten to that point. So in context of take me on a journey through this, right?
Sure.
Take me on a journey through the line.
Yeah,
Because
okay, sure.
again, Paul, I completely agree with what you said. If I have to go to the aesthetics team at the hospital, they are going to gravitate towards that M line, not because of any sort of pricing or anything. It's because it's smaller.
Yeah.
And I have put ridiculous. You remember the old M30 like 16s where they had little spider cables in the back? Oh my God. The amount of those because they were flush.
Yeah.
The aesthetics team go, that. The problem is we're not getting necessarily the same performance. I would love it if we could out of that versus a Q35.
Sure.
And I've always said the Q35 line or the Q dome is for people with acquired tastes. They have very specific, like, this must be. And I think if you got hearing it from you, kind of taking us through this, and like what sticks out in your mind, what like when you were making these products, what was like the one marquee thing per product that you really stands out to you?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. I mean, and I think first is the obvious, as we talked about here, is the form factor, the compactness of the products. And I mean, if we start with the I mean, here with the M line, this is the M30 camera line. This is where we really try to make as compact camera as possible, still leveraging our heritage when it comes to quality, image performance, compute power, and so on. So this is really a no frills camera. It has compute capabilities, so you have AI capabilities on board. It has an SD card recording on board. It has the same Access OS as we have. You can run applications. You can use object detections and so on. But I would say the difference here is really the lens and the optical form factor. So here we have what we call a fixed lens. So you get a fixed field of view, so you cannot really adjust it like you can on the other ones. And the lens is a little bit smaller.
You're saying like a fixed lens versus a varifocal.
Exactly.
And so for
Yeah.
like the people listening in to
Yeah.
this, kind of take us through, because I think it's an important thing.
Yeah,
People,
I mean,
people always go, I want a wide field of view. I'm like, well, you're spreading pixels out.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think just kind of, if you can kind of walk us through that just a little
Yeah,
bit, it'd be
I
valuable.
mean, I think when I mean, I have 3 daughters at home, and last year we went to see Taylor Swift at a concert, and I think most people didn't see her; they only saw their phones because they were filming all the time. But
That would have been my wife. That's okay. Keep going.
So, but I was thinking that if you look at a mobile phone, traditionally, I mean, you have just a standard lens,
Mhm.
right? And then most people start to pinch, zoom, and try to get that, because you don't want to have the full field of view. They want to see Taylor,
Mhm.
up front, right?
Right.
So nowadays, I mean, some of the most advanced cameras have multi lenses and so on. But I think that's the same with the cameras here. That, I mean, you are limiting yourself a little bit with a fixed focal, because, I mean, most likely you don't want to see everything that the camera sees. I mean, maybe you want to have a little bit zoomed in. Maybe you want to look at a door, or a part of the room or something.
Mhm.
And as you say, to focus the pixels in where you see it, that's where you get better image quality, you get better detection, you get better information from that scene that you want to capture. So that is something that you are, I mean, sacrificing with our I would say smallest camera.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty pictures. They're wide. I think some people go, I want to see all this. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. But
but on the flip side is that, I mean, it's very easy to install. I mean, you just point the camera and then you're done. So and they are pre-focused, so you don't need to worry about anything. You just point the camera and you're done.
Mhm.
So that's where we are on these small form factor dome cameras. They are super powerful if you have good lighting conditions, and you don't have a what would say a difficult scene when it comes to optics. These cameras are great. I mean, they, again, you get the same. I mean, from Axis, we have the same warranty. We have the same, I mean, long time support on our Axis OS firmware. You get the cybersecurity. You get everything that you get from the Axis brand and the Axis product lines, just in a super compact and, I would say, limited scope of thing. But again, for some customers, that's perfect.
Yep.
If we jump to the other side, to the Q line, that's where we just go all in, right? So that's where we bring all the best technologies, because these cameras are really for the customers that don't accept anything but perfection, right? So they want to make sure that if something happens, they capture it on the camera.
Right.
And there are a couple of things that we built into the Q line. First of all, we have the biggest sensors and the biggest optics we can find. That gives maximum light into the sensor, so that gives them the best low light capabilities. We limit motion blur. You can always get a good capture of what's going on.
Well, and then with domes in general too, you do get some reflections off the dome because it's curved as opposed to like a flat-faced front camera.
Yeah.
But what you've done with the IR shielded dome of separating that, where you're not getting that mirror effect inside the, I guess, how to describe it is the mirrored effect inside the globe. If you're looking at the camera scene and you can kind of see it reflecting, especially when the IR hits, it eliminates all of that. And do you remember the picture that I sent you from the hospital where the truck hit the Q30? Remember these when they were first shipping?
Yeah.
And like we had just got the Q35s in, Paul. This is so funny. And you were just visiting me with that customer.
I was, yeah.
And not more than, was it like 2 weeks later? Okay. This guy takes this van through the parking structure. It's way too tall. He breaks the barrier arm. And then he's stuck and he's trying to back up to get like more momentum, but he's not realizing he's stuck on the ceiling. It is a hugely tall, you can't, and it's right at the hospital, right at the entrance. And he rams it. And what's the first thing he takes out was this dome. They spun it. I mean, remember this? It was just scratch and a whole van hit it.
Yep.
I was like that. And so when you talk about perfection, within the line. I do think that this sometimes gets slept on, or because people are like too big or what. Once you've experienced it, you're there.
And you say, I mean, this is a camera where you can really trust this camera, because first of all, you get the best components to make sure you have the best image quality in normal conditions. If for some reason the light is so low, you need IR, we have the IR shielded dome. So even if it's rain, if it's dirt, you get a perfect IR picture from this camera. I mean, best in the industry by far. Then let's say you have a power outage or something. We have a DC power, so you can have a redundant power. So even if the power goes out, you can still get the cameras up and working, and we have local onboard storage, so you can still record what's happening. We have a what we call an accelerometer. So we have what we call electronic image stabilization. So even if the cameras are a little bit shaky, you still get perfect pictures. We can also use that for shock detection. So you can get a notification if something happens with the camera. I mean, I think the list goes on and on. And when we talk about the compute power, we have the highest, spec in the ArtPec. We have in our new ArtPec 9 cameras, for instance, we have the DDR5 memories compared to DDR4, so a much higher bandwidth for the memories. So super advanced, the latest technology in the, I would say, the compute part of it. So maxed out performance in Q-Line. So if you say, I mean, the investment to put in a camera is going to be there for many years. I mean, why not put in a camera that you can trust for
many years?
Oh my goodness, I still have like two generations ago hanging on my house, and it hasn't died. To be clear, and I live in Wisconsin, so I mean, and I'm not necessarily nice to him because I'm kind of, I'm kind of mean to him sometimes too. It's part of my job. We got torture test stuff sometimes. I'm just trying to help. But then, I mean, so okay. So what one of the P series, right? Because I think that you had said this is super popular in the United States. And I will say I completely agree with that. But which one's flagship here? Because, I mean, I would say just based on density, it's P32. Yeah. But I don't know from the guy who makes it. You're responsible for this line. What's yours?
No, I mean, I think it's from a technical perspective, for sure, Q-Line is our flagship. I mean, if we would like to demonstrate the best capabilities of Axis when it comes to image quality, compute capabilities, sensing capabilities, and so on, I think Q-Line is where we can shine really. From I would say, a commercial and a usage point of view, P-Line is definitely our hero product, because coming to P-Line, that's really where we take the best of M-Line, the best of the compactness, and the best of the Q-Line performance in I would say, affordable, easy to use, all-in-one type of camera that just hits the majority of the customers, the majority of the use cases. So I think, that's our hero.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people kind of confuse it too, because if you look at the data sheet, these look kind of similar. Yeah. And unless you're really digging in. Yeah. And so, like, when you're building a P-Line camera, what was the thing that kept you awake at night?
I think it's the trade-offs, because I mean, doing the M-Line compactness, I mean, that's one extreme. So it's in a way quite easy to make those compromises. I mean, here
it's a priority for the size.
It's a priority. We have so we cannot bring a IR shielded dome into this camera,
right?
And we cannot bring more advanced capabilities in here. So it becomes easy. And on the Q-Line, it's on the other way around.
Everything.
Just everything.
It's
bring
everything. It's going to be the, what is it? The Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, or you're willing to say, compromise, no.
Yeah.
No. So, I mean, of course, there are limitations. It still is a commercial product. It's something that we want people to actually buy and experience and use. So, but
maybe Rolls Royce was a bad example. Then maybe I should say, it's like the GM line, right?
Yeah.
Professional grade. Yeah.
something like that. So that's in a way also easy. So what's keep me awake at night for P-line is how to compromise and how to strike that balance between an attractive pricing point, an attractive size, form factor, usability, at the same time bringing as much features and capabilities as possible.
Right.
So I think and that has led really to that. I mean, P-line today is our biggest. The P32 is our biggest product lines. We have products for indoors and outdoors. We have some products with a wide lens and a tele lens, and
I think also with the P series, it's very easy to add other devices.
Yeah.
And it's power over Ethernet. You plug in the other device right into this, you're getting the power. If it's a microphone or a sensor, or if it's an environmental sensor, or all these other kind of cool things that we're making now, right? That we're producing and we're developing, with the P series camera, you can add those so easily now, and then the ease of being able to just put them in the VMS. But if it's Axis Camera Station or Genetec or Milestone or others, is the ease of just being able to, I guess, program the sensor is a way to put it.
Support is real. You have a lot of support.
Turn on the analytics.
I mean, you have a support API level with all of these things.
Yeah.
But there's also, like you mentioned too, like the Vapix commands for the HTTP actions, where let's say you're trapped inside of a VMS that's not open and you need to get command language out. We have methods for that and everything like that. But I think what kind of expanding what Paul's saying is that has become so synonymous and so well represented in people's builds, the P32 line, that I think other product managers are like orbiting it. Does that make sense? Where they're like all of a sudden, like, we're going to build an accessory for the P line. And it's because, like, why not? Because, well, everybody's got them everywhere. I mean,
No, and
you could go anywhere and see a P
builds
line.
Success, I think, really. So, and since we have had such a huge success with P32, we also have I would say the broadest, I mean, accessory program around that form factor, that product, and as well, I mean, a lot of the accessories and other devices works really well because that's our gateway out to partners and customers. And I mean, every VMS player, every partner wants to make sure that they are compatible with P32 because that's, I mean, face it, I mean, it's the industry camera.
It is become the de facto, give me my varifocal dome.
Yeah.
And I will say this too, is a lot of people don't really know the difference of when they need varifocal or not. And so, I mean, for me, longer shots, flexibility of shots, if you're going to standardize on a camera, it would need, like, I only want one product line or one SKU in my building. It better be varifocal. Yeah. Fixed is not going to get it done. I don't care how you just can't. You can't get everything you need from that. And I mean, they're all motorized now anyways. Or not like I used to have to go up there and like with the handheld radio and go back and forth.
Focus for sure. And I think also to standardize, I mean, we have, I mean, so many partners come to us and say, I mean, we're so happy for P32 because we can basically solve every needs. We can do indoors, we can do outdoors, we can do short range, we can do long range, and we have these accessories and so on. So for an integration partner or installer or integrator, I mean, to carry a set of P32s in their van, I mean, then they always prepared for what could come. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, and you mentioned something too around capabilities and like trade-offs with size and power. When I first floated the idea past you of coming on the podcast to do a line, you made a comment to me about, hey, listen, when we really design a camera, we're starting with the chipset, and then we kind of design the camera around the chipset. Can you take us through, because these are running all the time. We're balancing longevity, heat, compute, and I mean, and like image sensors don't like heat. They don't seem to like that. Yeah, it's not like these cameras can't get that hot, and you are enclosed. You're fully enclosed. And so if you can kind of take us through some of the, like, what the process is of designing a camera when you say, and it's specifically around that chipset.
Yeah, I think different chipsets have and different generations have had different, I would say, focus, where before it was much about encoding, and now maybe it's more about compute. But you're right. I mean, heat and heat dissipation is a very challenging part in all computing devices. I mean, look at phones or laptops and so
Mhm.
on. I mean, today, I mean, you can run full day and it's not even warm. But I think there has been some tremendous development in power efficiency when it comes to silicon and chip and compute. So, but with that said, of course, if we have a big aluminum heatsink, as in Q35, we can put some more power through that camera.
Mm-hmm.
If we have a smaller, a plastic enclosure dome cameras like the M series, we have to be more reserved how we can use that power. So that is also
That's
a way.
interesting.
That's also a way where we can see that. I mean, size gives some advantages when it comes to not only fitting more powerful optics and more general capabilities, but also the way that we can push more power and use more and in the end, I mean, more AI and more graphical capabilities when it comes to our cameras.
And each one of these cameras has a CPU, GPU, and a DLPU in it. Because there was a decision made a while back that any new Axis camera, well, basically any new high 90 percentile for what it's worth. There's a few legacy ones still floating around.
Yeah.
It was going to have a DLPU in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we took the decision a couple of years ago because you could see. I mean, okay, let's say it like this. I mean, a couple of years ago, what we were actually selling was a video stream.
Mm-hmm.
So our
That's what
customers,
Paul was. Yeah.
customer were buying video, and typically in a video management system, that's what. So we made cameras to produce a really great video. That was our product, basically. That what we sold. But along came, the request, or I mean, to try to be to learn more about what's happening in the video, and that's where this whole AI agenda or smart camera or sensor came along, and we quickly realized that even though maybe what you could say maybe is I would say not a let's say a less advanced customer that that thinks that they just I just want to have video, I just want to see, but most likely they would like to have a great way to search in their video material.
Exactly.
They want to maybe have some alerts or something when something specific happens, even though they are thinking they just want to have video. So that's why we said that even in our smallest M line, we should prepare for this smart sensing capabilities, because that will be asked for by the industry. And I think now everybody is expecting that an IP camera, smart camera from today, especially from Axis, can detect humans, vehicles, different kind of objects, can count the objects, can start to learn all these great things that we have in a camera. Even though if they want to keep it in a small form factor, like in the M line. So yes, I mean, all our cameras today have AI compute capabilities thanks to our deep learning processing units that we have in the chipsets. So.
No, I appreciate it. And you made a comment before too about ArtPack. So Access Real Time Picture Encoder for people listening in. We're on 9 now, so I know you're working a few years out. But as we're airing this, we are at 9, and I think what you had made comment of that forward thinking fits very well with the healthcare industry, because when they're planning a project, they're planned in advance. It goes for capital expenditure unless it's going to be like a life cycle replacement or some sort of emergency, like reactive need. There was a negative incident. Now we got to put some stuff in. We got to do it. That happens a lot, but that's not just for health. That's a lot of industries are like that.
Oh yeah. Education, really big.
But 100%. Yeah. And so What I think that's enabled a lot of people to do is start to ask the question of, hey, listen, I need to standardize on a baseline of a chipset. And I've started seeing this more and more where what is the baseline I should have? I'll lifecycle management the rest, but I know I can have a stable building block to go up off of from there as we go forward. Because these are going to be in a building for a very long time. It's a ton of distributed horsepower, and they want to make sure that they at least have like a baseline of capabilities. And I think A8 or ArtPEC, now I'm saying it, Access Real-Time Picture Encoder 8 is kind of the
that would be the baseline.
I would agree with you because, I mean, we had DLPUs, but they were dormant in the previous lines because we weren't getting performance we needed from them.
Right.
And 8 was the one where like we're rolling now.
Yeah.
And that where can you maybe speak to that a little bit too of kind of like what a baseline of success looks like for you, actually like to say, yes, go.
Yeah, no, but I think typically when we talk about edge computing and these capabilities, it's really about the hardware, the chipset inside. And when we came out with ArtPEC 7 a couple of years ago, that was the first time when we started to leave the guessing work of motion, because that's how we try to figure out if something happening in front of the camera. When we start to apply something we call machine learning at the time, right? So and we can then try to classify some objects, but the local compute was not really powerful enough on the ArtPEC 7. In ArtPEC 8, we put a specific part of the silicon in the ArtPEC to do this what you call inference when you compare the video towards a trained neural network, and then that's really where we saw I would say a steep increase in accuracy and value. So right now, I mean, we have a very, very good detector in our ArtPEC 8. So I would say that's using what we call a deep learning analytics. So that's taking the modern approach of how local AI is being deployed, and we are continuing on that path with ArtPEC 9. So I mean, on ArtPEC 8, you have a basic capability. With ArtPEC 9, of course, I mean, it's a 3-year more modern chipset, so you can run, everything will run faster. You can do more and more, so on, and that will continue, of course, ArtPEC 10, ArtPEC 11. But I would say that the baseline is really where this journey started for real is ArtPEC 8.
And I think that's really important is for you. And everybody on your teams as you're constantly working to improve. It's something that we're always looking at. How do we make this better? We just don't settle. We look at how do we make this better? How do we? It's continuous improvement, and how do we go to that next place where it's reliable and you can set expectations and you meet those expectations.
Yeah, I think this whole I would say teaching or learning type of technology for AI has been a fundamental shift in how things are happening, because before it was more, I would say, kind of algorithm based,
right?
And a good algorithm was a good algorithm, and it stayed like that.
Right.
Now it's about learning, and of course, a 3-year-old doesn't know as much as a 7-year-old or an adult. That's because we have learned a lot more. We have lived longer. We have learned more, and I think that's same goes with our AI technologies. We every day here at Axis we train, I mean, thousands and thousands of images of new objects, so that we are every day we are learning our algorithms or our AI to be better. And that will be beneficial also for the customers who sits on ArtPEC 8 cameras, for sure. So,
and I think it's important that we talk about that real quickly, is that AI we have to train it. It's not a brain. It's not going to learn itself. There's people out there that are talking about AI at a certain level, like they did at analytics. And I remember when analytics first came out, we thought, we were sold analytics as an end customer, like they were doing these wonderful things, and they failed. And basically we turned them off And as a prior end customer, it took me time to be able to say, all right, I'll try it again.
Yeah.
And the difference was about setting expectations and really being able to tell people this is what the expectation is. This is what it has to learn these things. And we've come a long way there.
Oh yeah, and just as another example, when we launched the first ArtPack 8 cameras 3 years ago, we have a very limited set of features in our AI, in what we call
Mhm.
access object analytics. I mean, for instance, we couldn't count
Mhm.
objects at that time.
Mhm.
Fast forwarding to now, I mean, we have we can count objects both in the scene and over cross lines, and we have added more features, more attributes, and so on. So I think if you opt in on an Axis modern camera, you are with us on a journey for many years.
I agree with you.
And since we have a very clear, Axis OS tracks, we call active and LTS tracks. So we can tell you typically you get, a few years of active development when you buy a camera free of charge. So the cameras that you buy will only get better over time.
I don't think that gets brought up enough. I think
Right.
that's slept on by a lot of the industry, is that they'll test something when they first try it, or something's new, and it's like, oh, this is all it does. Well, what they're not realizing is that there is an army of people here, hundreds and hundreds of people just working on OS, which
Yeah.
firmware, for if you're whatever.
Yeah.
I still
You're still on
mentally I'm
firmware.
still
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
firmware, but it's and it is more than firmware, so it is correct to call it an OS.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
completely agree with the name change. I'm not going to argue that. I agree with it entirely. But they don't understand, and that's just the people that are doing just the firmware aspects and the OS aspects, not necessarily the performance improvements. So there's even more people doing performance improvements, and what I have noticed, before Access Object Analytics, we had Guard Suite. What never was talked about is how much better that had gotten from when it launched.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to that of Access Object Analytics, which would be like the human vehicle detectors,
scenario
attributes.
detection. Yeah.
And that has dramatically improved. And like you said, counting before, time and area, all these things that were added as a value to the customers that they're just getting because they elected to upgrade their firmware for cyber hygiene.
No,
Or a new feature.
Yeah. So, and I think that's where again we see the shift from IP to IT.
Yeah.
So it is more. I mean, just look at our phones. I mean, when we get updates, I mean, it's coming cyber, but you also get some usability updates and so on. And we see the same with cameras.
And I think some of like the core founding fabric of Access when they used to do print servers was the fact that everything had to exist on that device. You could not rely on anything else in that ecosystem to have any sort of computation. And I think that like culture still translates into the current product offerings, is we don't know where they're going to be. So we bake it into the product and it's living, self-sustaining. We can't guarantee they're going to be utilizing a cloud architecture that we can then load balance with.
No.
We can't guarantee that they're going to have a specific VMS that we're going to be able to load balance with. So a ton of investment goes into that edge computing, which would you say it's kind of like on par, just to give like maybe like a smartphone? Would you kind of like, similar from like, just to provide perspective to people listening?
I mean, you could say in a way, I mean, it's a similar architecture, for sure. And today a lot of the compute capabilities of a smartphone, I would rather maybe not call it a phone. Maybe it's a smart camera with some cellular connectivity to it. Because I think
depends if you're a Taylor Swift or not. I mean, because that's you're going to need some. Yeah, you got to get those photos up quick.
So I think when you look at the commercials on new phones launching, it's like 80% about the camera features.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much about creating a clear and crisp phone call anymore. So
I agree.
So there are some I mean, it's a multimedia type of device, which we have as well.
Well, I think the other thing that you have done as a team in the healthcare world is you've actually improved people's experience in hospitals. It's improved patient care. It's improved the way that doctors, nurses, and others are able to communicate with patients and bring the best of care. And um, we looked at these originally as we talk about these as cameras that are up in the ceiling and blah, 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 blah. But the reality is you're changing and making improvements for people's lives and sometimes saving lives. So I think we lose sight of that sometimes when we think about cameras and, oh, we're putting cameras in, but you have actually impacted people's lives with these, believe it or not, and improved the way people are cared for. And so it's very commendable to you and the team as well. It's just not a dome camera anymore. It's a lot more than that.
No, and I think that's you asked me what kept me up at night. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but what really sometimes, I mean, when I wake up, I mean, sometimes I actually feel quite proud that we are actually helping to create a smarter and a safer world. And it's not just a Axis buzzword.
It's right.
It is actually something. I mean, it makes different. And in the world today, where you see all the challenges that we hear on the news and so on. I mean, we know that we, with our products, we are protecting people. We are helping out. So that makes you feel good coming to
Well,
work.
It doesn't, and it makes you really feel like, okay, I did something.
Yeah.
I did something and so it's great.
I agree with you, but I almost think that safer is a byproduct of being smarter.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's one of those things where the more intelligence you make, and with what you guys have done with balancing the image with the computation abilities, you can't compute things you cannot see in the vision data world. And it must run for a very long time. These things are running 24/7. They don't get rebooted.
Yeah.
I think what you have built is this utilitarianism that people have come to expect. And then there's that expectation. And then there's Martin staying up at night longer. So there's that. So it's.
But I also want to throw another perspective to this as well, because it's also about, I would say, respecting people's privacy, and at the same time as keeping it safe and so on. And we have been working, maybe being a Swedish European company, we have, the GDPR has been very dominant here for a couple of years. So privacy has always been important, and I think a part of privacy is already in the way where we use the edge computing and have an edge device. Data doesn't need to leave the camera, so that's one first level of privacy. But there are other more recent technologies that we have started to incorporate that I think is very important. And one of the first things is that we have now a technology where we can dynamically mask our objects. It's called Access Live Privacy Shield, and it's really taking the compute classify. So we can classify an object, right? We can know it's a human, we can know it's a face, and since we know where that human is in the video, we can also put a blur, a mask on top of that, and that mask will follow the object and so on. And with our latest RPEC 9 cameras, we actually can run this together with the rest of their AI suite of products we have in the camera. So,
multi-model.
Exactly. So now with RPEC 9, you can actually have the objects, I would say, anonymized in a great way, and that will, I think, open up to even more use cases where maybe you feel a little bit, uncertain if you want to put cameras in certain areas. So now that's a way to protect privacy. Another way is we talked a lot about sensors here before, and we talked about our eyes, the vision, but we also recently start to use our ears as well as sensors. So we now have a suite of audio analytics in some of our cameras, and audio has always been a little bit more, I would say, of a concern when it comes to privacy.
Okay. Yeah.
And we have cameras with built-in microphones where you can pick up conversations and so on, which is very useful in some areas. But with some of our latest cameras, we have actually decided to disable all the audio capabilities in the cameras and only use the microphone as an acoustic sensor.
Mm-hmm.
What
You
that
can split those streams, right? Is it kind of what you're saying?
So what that means is that no audio is leaving the camera. It's not possible to listen to any of the audio. It's not possible to record any audio. The only thing that is captured is the sound coming into our AI, and we are classifying, and we can detect certain objects like scream, shout, glass break, and all kinds of sound footprints that we are training our algorithms to detect, as well as we can detect anomalies in the sound level. And I think coming back to protect and so on, and safety, that means that we can help to detect if someone are in having a problem, screaming, shouting. There's something happening in front of the camera that is.
We need to have attention to that.
Exactly. Still preserving privacy, because we don't hear what's going on. I mean, what the people are talking about, so that's not of our concern. We just want to know that this is some kind of activity that is an anomaly, or there's something that we'd like to
and
know
take a
about.
look at it and see what it is, and then make a determination.
So
I mean, you can also elect to record the audio as well too. So it's not that you can't record the audio.
For some of our cameras where we market these are acoustic sensors, they have no audio. It's not possible to record.
So you have to know which one you're looking at if you want to bring in the audio.
So they are locked, and this is really because we want to take the legal aspects out from because otherwise we put the requirements on our partners to make sure that they don't activate the microphone for recording and so on. And since most of the installations, they are not allowed to use that, so that's why by installing these cameras with acoustic sensors, it's like installing a camera without a microphone. So then it's easy for everyone to comply with regulations.
Well, Access does a very good job in general balancing privacy. Like with the EU AI Act, we're balancing these things. We're not inferring emotion. We're not. You've done a really good job of walking the tightrope, even before maybe some of these things were in paper, right? I should say in print. We've always been trying to be that. We want to push, but we don't want to go too far where people are feeling uncomfortable. And I think that it's a tightrope. I really do.
And here, I mean, with if you opt to choose to install cameras with these capabilities, with these acoustic sensor capabilities, I mean, you will have this piece of hardware that we can develop over time with some more capabilities going forward. As I said, today we have some object classes like scream, shout, and glass break, and so on. But we have a very, very attractive and interesting roadmap of what will come. Again, for people who wants to or can upgrade to latest Access OS releases, they will get this for free, in the cameras going forward.
And then pretty soon we're going to have some environmental sensors, so now we're going to smell as well.
Yeah, so exactly. So we have our eyes, we have our ears, we have our nose, and God knows we might want to taste something as well.
We've come a long way we've come a long way in this industry from when we had a shoebox full of DVR tapes, and we used to change them every day, right? For us, from the old guard. So, all right.
Yeah, I think thank you both. Paul, always awesome having you as a coach. Martin, I'm super grateful for you being on. I think this is awesome. For those of you listening in, hopefully you found this valuable. If you want to be able to watch it, well, you're obviously already on YouTube, but if you want to be able to watch more content like this, please check out the Access USA YouTube channel for more Access Technologies and Healthcare episodes. And stay tuned all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure working with you.
Thank you.